I have this saying that the only thing that will kill your passion is poverty.
Mm.
You know, so fashion is your fuel, right? But if you cannot drive the car, it wouldn't move.
Hey guys, welcome to How They Did It with TriciaBiz, a show that takes you behind the scenes of successful African entrepreneurs, changemakers, and creators, showing you the journeys that led to their success.
This episode is sponsored by Traction Apps, the growth partner for your business.
Today, we get to sit and talk with an interesting and extremely knowledgeable guest who started fashion back in primary school when he was hand stitching aprons, and today has built a multi-million-dollar fashion label. One that you know many of your faves wear, and so many international celebrities like Naomi Campbell's and the like have rocked. And he is no other than Mai Atafo of Atafo Official. Welcome to the show. Welcome. So I have the ever smiling. Is he always smiling? Sometimes he's not. I have Mai with me. Welcome.
Thank you, Trish.
So he's actually an inspiration. He's a bespoke tailor. He's a fashion designer. He's the person you want to be wearing when you're walking down the aisle, amongst other occasions. And he is the founder of Atafo. So today we get to talk to him and find out how he did it.
Yes.
So welcome. Thank you for saying yes to this.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor sitting with you on the same sofa.
Fantastic. I'm going to take that, frame it. Okay, so let's go all the way back, right? All the way back to school when you were using your hands to sew aprons. Let's talk.
That's primary school.
Yes.
That feels like 100 years ago. Yeah. I was in the home economics class, and yes, I think I picked home economics over one of those physical things to do because I liked it. And yes, we had to stitch things, and I remember stitching an apron that I ended up using to cook at home. It felt really good doing that.
So why? Like, you just liked it?
I think at that point in time, I realized I could do it. It was easy for me to do.
Okay.
So I didn't struggle to sew or to stitch or to understand what they were teaching me in home economics classes. So it was easy. Thinking back in the later years or thinking back now, I think it was all part of what I am today, which is, it's more about ideation and birthing it. So an apron is something that was there. Well, I couldn't touch it or see it physically, but cutting it and folding it and stitching it now becomes something that's physical. So it's almost like birthing something. And later on in life, I realized that was my strength, and that's what I like to do. I like to bring ideas to fruition or bring it to reality. So be it in advertising, be it in fashion, be it in film, be it in anything, as long as it's a concept that's in your head, then you go through the process of actually birthing it. I love it. You love it.
Great. So you start stitching aprons and then graduate to shirts.
Yeah, so stitched aprons, then shorts, then in secondary school we started using bed sheets to stitch shirts.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
God forgive us, we steal people's bed sheets. But then in boarding school, you had to have white bed sheets. So I went to Federal Government College. So you pick, somebody's own, and then, they wash their bed sheet and they won't be there again. Then tomorrow you're wearing it. Then the seniors will commission you to make them something.
Theirs, yeah.
So you sit down and
you get anything in exchange, like provisions?
Nothing, no. If you don't do it, they just beat you up. You're a junior. And so you will cut it and stitch this thing. Basically it was back stitch, which was the most annoying thing to stitch them. But it was fun doing it, to be honest. It was fun. To me, it didn't look like it was part of a big picture. It was just what we were doing at the point in time. With no big picture to it. I think that's the that's the good part of parenting now, where you see your kids do something and you want to push them to do it, because if it's a maybe parents do not
there's a future
know, are
in
you
there.
gifted in this or gifted in that?
Yeah.
Go to school, be a lawyer, be a doctor, be an engineer.
A
That was the end
banker.
of the story.
That's
There
it.
was no, oh, maybe you have a gift. Your gift, whatever gift you have, was to entertain their friends when they came over.
True.
Like, I was a great dancer, and I said, come and dance for Mr. This person. And they'll put the music and I'll dance for the man. And the man is like, he spray me small money. I was but it was nothing more than that. I felt like with the kid I was growing up, if I was encouraged to do what I was doing at the point in time, I most likely would have been a singer. That's what my first love is music. It's still my first love.
Interesting.
If Don Jazzy decides to sign me today, I will take the record deal and I will sing.
Don, are you listening?
Don Jazzy. Oroma, I can be one of the mavens.
Fantastic. Okay, so you progressed all through with this love for fashion. You just loved outfits.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, we're thinking about business, and then you end up in marketing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was, marketing was a fluke. I knew nothing about marketing till I started.
So
my first degree was in agri-economics and extension. And after that, I went to England to do my master's degree in information systems and technology.
Okay.
That's when IT was the hottest
thing. In thing.
Yeah. So I went to do that. And I finished and tried to get a job. And it wasn't just working. Graduate schemes wasn't working right. And I couldn't just really get a job with my degree in England. And I didn't want to submit to be one of those guys doing one contract job of admin person when you have a master's degree and stuff. And things were a lot harder then than now, that it's almost like an equal playing field. They will hire you from Nigeria to go and work in England. Then, if you were not British, white, going through the ranks, it was just difficult. So I thought, let me open up my eyes and see other opportunities that there were. And there was something called African Managers then, which is now Careers in Africa, where they come to recruit Nigerians in the diaspora to come back and work in Nigeria. And it was the first or second edition. I heard the first edition, I think it was second edition that I went to. And it was quite interesting because you apply to be in the conference. So you submit your CV and everything. Then the people send your CVs to the potential companies that want to come. The clients actually pay to be part of the recruitment thing. It was a very interesting idea. So they send all the CVs to them, right? Or you apply for roles or whatever is available within the businesses, they send. Then they pick the people that they want to come and see at the interviews, at the conference. So they had the first few days for scheduled interviews, then the next 2 days for random interviews. So the random interviews was like, they have a desk, come and drop your CV. Or there's somebody there that'll just ask you a few questions, they like who you are, they just take your CV and stuff and interviewed you. So I went for the thing. I got in. I didn't have any scheduled interviews. When I got in there, I had an interview I was scheduled to see British American Tobacco and Nigerian breweries, I think. And British American Tobacco was the one that did the interview with me. Nigerian breweries didn't even proceed. So I only had British American Tobacco. I went through the whole process, which was interview there. Then they had a whole recruitment weekend somewhere. They took us somewhere for a whole weekend to interview us. It was thorough. And it wasn't just like Nigerians. It was people that were going into the graduate scheme from all around the world. So we did that whole thing there for a whole weekend. Then I got recruited to come back to Nigeria. I remember the two guys from British American Tobacco that were there that came to interview me. Victor Banjo and Vitus Ezenwa. I will never forget those guys. I owe it to them forever in my life. They were playing good cop, bad cop at the interview. It was really interesting. I sat down for the interview. Vitus was the bad cop, Victor was the good cop. And he said, what was the best part of the presentation that we did today? Tricia, I was in the presentation. The presentation was 1 hour. I was there for 15 minutes. And I walked out. Because I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, the part I liked.
This is me interrupting your watch time to tell you to like this video, share it, and also subscribe to my channel. You're still watching How They Did It with TriciaBiz.
I found the fact that you guys were there for 1 hour. The part that really caught me was the part when you talked about what impact you guys were making and moving that, which was the only part I was.
But you watched.
The only part I was. And I broke that part down so well. And I was, oh, okay, interesting. And he said, why don't you want to come back home? I said, I want to come back. And say, why are you waiting for us to bring you back? Or why don't you just go back home to work? And I can't just go back there to look for a job. I have no family there right now. So it'd be difficult for me to stand there. If you're determined to do something, you go there, you make it work. I'm like, I can't make it work. Nigeria is hard. You say everything is hard. And that's how we're going back and forth. I didn't know he was just trying to actually, what's the word? He was taunting me. And I was giving him back. So he will raise his voice and I'll raise my voice. He will raise his voice and I'll raise my voice. It's like, you can do something. What ideas do you have? I said, I have ideas to turn refuse into fertilizer. I said, then do it. I can't do it because I need funds. Have you asked for funds? Where would I get the funds from? No, I said, dude, this is not as easy as you make it sound. You make it sound like, I mean, you're the one in, like, you're sitting down there. You could have done it if it was that easy to do. I'm here trying to see what I can do. And you're telling me I'm not doing the most I can do. And we're going back and forth. And I was like, okay. Let the interview start then. I looked at him and I said, is there any need to do the interview? Because I don't think I had the job. I literally fighting with you. He said, no, that was just a conversation. Let's have the interview. And we had the interview and I was taken to the next level and I was recruited and I joined the business. I think I stressed Vitus the most because he gave me a job offer. He gave me a salary. I refused the salary, but I accepted the offer. So I went back and said, I accept the offer for the role that you've given to me. However, I'm very happy. However, I'm not happy with the remuneration. So as you review that, tell me when my start date is and blah, blah, blah. He was like, wow.
Very bold.
You know, but he reviewed. He got into trouble with the marketing director. Like, how would you review a salary for someone that I've not even seen? They flew me in to come and see the marketing director.
Oh, wow.
He was a white guy, he's waiting. I saw that one. After the interview, he was happy. I think he went back to Vitus and I went like, nice one. Vitus was like, yeah, right. Like, I don't know my
like,
job.
I know what I was doing.
But that was how, so he was the one that said, you'll be good in marketing based on the conversation we had. And I said, what is marketing?
Oh.
Like,
you know what it was.
What it is. I mean, coming from a Greek and IT guy, made no sense to me. He said, you'll be really good in it. And okay, if you say so, I want a job. You give me a job, I'll do the job. So I got my first leg was in market research.
Okay.
And that's how I got into marketing.
So you did, from BAT you moved to Diageo and all of that, you spent how many years?
Over almost 9 years.
9 years.
Slightly over 8 years, to be honest. It was 4 years and a bit, 4 years and a bit.
So why did you decide, you know what, it's time to get out?
Of Diageo?
Yes.
To do fashion?
Yes.
Yeah. There's something marketing does to you, which I tell people, I think that's the best career ever in life, and a lot of people don't get it. Like, marketing is the place that you learn the most. I was exposed to a lot of things. I was exposed from research. I did marketing projects. I did trade research. I did distribution, you know. And you're the one that has to know the reason why things are happening because you're in research. You know, you can't guess because you work with numbers, so you have to be specific. That's why I never use words like everybody likes and everybody knows. You don't do that in research. Yeah. You're down to percentages and specifics. So doing all that, they got to the point that I felt that my growth was stifled in BAT. I moved to Diageo, which exposed me to advertising and people in that whole world. I didn't do brand marketing in Diageo at all. In BAT, I did it in Diageo. And I saw that world. I'm like, what? This is interesting. Because I started with innovation when I got to Diageo before I went to call brand. And I saw how that moved. So he exposed me a little bit to the creative world beyond advertising. And I started seeing musicians and actors and people bringing their creative juices to life. I'm like, I can do that now. I can do what he's doing. I can do what he's doing. But my own calling was in fashion. Then I started took permission from my marketing and I started doing my fashion label whilst I was still working.
Oh, okay.
And there was some traction. Okay, this is good. Then it got to a point where I knew that if I got a promotion in Diageo, I couldn't do fashion anymore. Because it wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't be able to even give it the time.
The time you needed.
So I felt like, this would be a good time to move.
Exit.
But I didn't get the promotion, but I knew I could possibly get something. So in looking at all that, looking at what I thought was success for my fashion label, I was like, man, what do I do? Why would I be here? And blah, blah. It was a very tough situation. The day that I resigned, I didn't know I was resigning. I went into work to work a normal day. And halfway the day, I thought, that's it. It was a pure emotional decision. I had no plans. Nothing was structured on paper. I just wrote my resignation and that was it.
Wow.
The best way not to ever resign. If you're watching this program, do not resign like that, please. I beg you. Oh my God. And I left. The only thing that I did was I saved quite a lot.
Okay.
I'd saved 2 years of my monthly salary. So I told myself, if it doesn't work in 2 years, I'll go back and look for a job.
To paid employment.
So I just told myself that I'll be living off my salary like I was still working. So it felt like I was on the 2 years leave. So if it didn't happen in 2 years or close to 2 years, I was going to dust my CV up.
And go back.
And I was bloody good in marketing. I was very overconfident I would get a job if I was going to go back. So it was like, yeah, whatever. But that was, 12 years ago.
A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're
even though we're still flirted with marketing back and forth, we have not gone back fully.
Still out of the marketing world. So what did you then do? Because I know you then went to take a fashion editor job.
Yeah, I was a bit scared.
Okay.
Of what life would be without paid employment. Again, I didn't know what entrepreneurship was, to be honest. I knew what fashion was, but I didn't know what entrepreneurship was. And that's why when people always say, oh, do it for the love, I'm like, no, do it for the money. Because Nigeria is hard as it is. If you cannot feed yourself and your family,
the love will die.
Yes. I have this saying that the only thing that will kill your passion is poverty. So fashion is your fuel, right? But if you cannot drive the car, it wouldn't move. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Drive it wrong, they get a car accident. But you still have fuel. Doesn't mean that you can't move. You can move, but you are moving in the right direction, the wrong direction. So I didn't know entrepreneurship. So I felt like I needed something that would earn us. I also felt like I needed something that would say you're in fashion.
Okay.
So I got the job as fashion editor in Genevieve magazine.
Did you know
anyone
there?
No.
How did you land the job?
No, I went to the office. I read that the fashion editor had left.
Okay.
The major Lara had left, and I went there and said,
I can do it.
Hi, I want to be a fashion editor. There was no vacancy out. I think, how did you even?
This is what they call shoot your shot.
I just went to the office, literally went to the office. I like to see Betty Rabo and this. She came to talk to somebody. I spoke to the person. Then she asked to see me, and we spoke. Have you ever done this before? I'm like, no, I've never done fashion editing before at all. So you're like, hey, I can do it now. Every month you want something in there that is fashion and style.
You want the cover, you want
I do it.
An issue.
You want
an issue? Get it.
You have a photographer. We style the looks and everything. I can do it. You've done it before? No. I bet she was just looking at me like,
who's this chap?
Who are you? But I was very confident I could do it. I'd never done it before. The funny thing is that I didn't even read up about it. But just I could do this job. So, okay, I'll talk to you later. And I left. And she called me again. We had the conversation. So I'm very sure she was going through that thing in her head like, he sounds like he can do it, but nothing shows that he can do it. Why would I give him a chance? And she was like, okay, let's just see. I'm like, okay, cool. And I wrote her, the next issue is what we are doing was Independence Day issue. I said the Independence Day, let's celebrate Nigeria through traditional outfits. And for this edition, since it's a predominantly female magazine, we will get women to wear menswear. traditional menswear outfits in the thing. I could see Betty just going like, But again, she let me run with it. So I got people to make Niger Delta outfit as a dress. I got women to wear agbada, and I was cross-referencing. So when you wear the Yoruba agbada, I'll get you to wear Hausa cap or Igbo cap. You know, so I was doing all that for the women's wear. Then things that were predominantly men's tailoring, we tailor a female. So that kaftans with trousers and gele. You know, it was just. And that day she came to the shoot. We shot at Nikki Art Gallery. She was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, I think they'll like this thing." So when she came and she saw everything, she was like, "Oh, I like this Niger Delta outfit as a dress. I want one." I'm like, "MD, you are liking it. That means it's working." And I goes, "Oh, really? Is it going to work?" I'm like, "It's going to work because you like it for starters." That was the first issue that we shot. And it came out beautifully. You know? And again, that is something I said. I'm like, what I realized that I like to birth it. So I had the idea in my head that if I did this thing, it would be nice. And it came out nice. You know, sometimes it doesn't come out nice, but it did come out nice. So I took that job. Whilst I was working that job, because he didn't need me to be in the office every single day, I took up a job at Sounds CMA as the head of Spice TV. At the same time as trying to run my fashion business. Because, by the way, I didn't have a studio till I left. So then I was actually I got a studio in Farnham Shopping Center. Okay. And I was also doing CMA. So CMA, we were reshooting all their opening and closing sequence, getting new things for reshooting their programs, because we didn't like some programs, all that. I was writing the script for that, and we're changing all that. So I was literally doing 3 jobs. Wow. At the time. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. When people say when you like what you do, it feels like you're not working. I did, and it actually felt like I wasn't working. But I felt like they started wanting to demand more of me. Because they're like, "Oh, you have time, so you can do more." So I went up from even just doing editing on the inside to the cover for Genevieve magazine. And I did that Genevieve magazine for 2 years before I left. Interestingly, whilst I was there, I covered the first Arise Fashion Week as fashion editor. Wrote about the collections and everything in it. I didn't showcase. I went to New York to shadow Nigerian designer showcasing in New York. The next year, I was fashion editing and also showcasing my collection at the same fashion show. I also did the editorial for that same fashion week, you know, in it. That's a lot of work. And also trying to get content for Spice TV for Fashion Week at the same time. That's a lot. Yeah. I had energy then, not like now. Things you do when you're young. But yeah, so that was how that went. Again, when I decided to leave those things, it wasn't again because I felt like, I was making money. My fashion business started becoming more demanding. I had to start sitting down and thinking, how does this work? How do I make this even more? I didn't have an easy landing in the fashion industry, I must say so. It felt like I had to prove my mantle, and I still prove it till tomorrow, regardless of the fact that I feel like I'm established, I'm known and stuff. I still feel like I still have a chance to prove to everybody that I can do this thing properly as well. The brand is in motion now. Today, when we hear we hear Atafo, we're like, oh, those guys, they're the celebrity choice. Yeah. Because every other celebrity has won APS. How did you get your first celebrity? Interestingly, it's good that you said that, because I've heard another designer who I totally respect a lot using me as a reference point for that. That asked me about strategies that she used in the industry, and she said that, there's this designer called Mai Atafo. He used to close celebrities, and when they're on the red carpet, they say, I'm wearing Mai Atafo. Mai Atafo. And she thought, oh God, this is interesting because I'm hearing his name everywhere. I know a few celebrities, let me call them up and do the same thing that he's doing. And I was very shocked because this was at the conference in Ghana, and she was online. I was there physically, and I'm like, oh wow, really? You know? So I never saw it as a strategy. I just did it. So back to the question you asked me, the first celebrity that I actually clothed and how that came, believe it or not, was Pasuma Wonder. Paso was the first celebrity I made anything for. And that was for the dance reality show called Celebrity Takes Two.
I watched that.
Yes.
I watched season 1, season 2.
Yeah. I think
and it disappeared.
Yeah, it was season 1 and 2. I think they didn't do 3. And yeah, it was Pasuma. What happened was that they had picked people to clothe different people.
Okay.
So they picked a designer that she no longer designs. She's now into art. Her name is Ugoma Ebila.
Okay.
And she owned, she was first people that even did ready to wear in this country. She had something called Zebra Living. She moved from she was doing retail for everything, from clothes to accessories and everything way back then. So they asked her to clothe one of the dance instructors. So she was doing that. And they said, oh, she had to work with a designer who was going to clothe the celebrity that the instructor was dancing with.
Okay.
And the celebrity was Pasuma.
Wow.
So she said, I want to work with Mai, because she knew me. And this was literally like 5 weeks of me actually saying I was doing this thing properly. And that was me on national television making clothes for Pasuma. So I went to Pasuma's house, took his measurements. He asked what I was making for him. I told him I was making a tuxedo. He was like, tuxedo, I had to explain to him. And then he was always wearing his Arsenal jersey. I was like, no, it's a night outfit to wear. It's this, that. I said, okay, designer. Designer, if you make me look bad, you look bad. I'm like, no problem at all. So the first show, we made him a black tuxedo. We used lace fabric to make a waistcoat for him. I remember clearly, because that's what his instructor was wearing. And he was the last person that was announced that day, and it was amazing. And Pasuma came out, and it was a whole rah.
And he actually danced well.
He did. He got to the finals.
Yeah, he actually danced well.
Interestingly, that reality TV show, I started with Pasuma. Then Ugoma stopped making outfits for the instructor. I started making for the instructor and Pasuma. Okay. Then another instructor, who was my friend, Wale Robber, his designer dropped off, so I started making for him. And Wale Robber's partner was on Ohimai Atafo, his designer job, I started making for her. So I went from making for one person to making for 4 people. And they all got to the finals. So I was there for the 13 weeks till the last day. Because Ohimai Atafo got to the final. Pasuma got to the final. And that was how I started women's wear, through Ohimai. I wasn't doing women's wear. Okay. So making clothes for her for the dance show. After the dance show, we had to do a finale outfit. It was supposed to be a glam thing, and we did it. Then the next year, she had to host the Future Awards, and said she was only going to work with me. And I made outfits for her for the Future Awards, and that now led to us having a relationship where I like making all her clothes for events. Okay. That was where the buzz now really pushed the name, because when she was in any carpet, or she was mentioning style influencer, or she was getting an award for dressing well, she would mention my brand name, and it just started to push the. All this time, I still worked with Guinness. I had not quit my job at this time when this was happening. Interesting. Yeah.
So it was like organic.
Yeah. So it wasn't like it was a strategy that I put pen to paper and said this was going to happen. No, it just seemed to happen like that. And since they all tend to be friends, like one person to the next person to the next person, now who did this? Oh, is the Mai Atafo that? Okay, let's get the person. And then I was working in Guinness. It was always like, wait, hold on. Are you Ohimai of Guinness? And then that's why I went with Mai Atafo, just to have a small differentiation between Ohimai, who was working in Guinness, and Mai Atafo, the designer, and the day. But yeah, that's how that started. And it was a very, very interesting way to push the brand. At one time when I went to brag, I would say that I'm a celebrity designer, not because I'm a celebrity as a designer, but because I design for celebrities. So you're not a celebrity till I design for you. Arrogancy of the youth. But yeah, there you
go. Okay, so let's look at your product line evolution. So what did you start with? Because right now I see you are making footwear. So how did the brand evolve over
So
time?
when we started, we're literally making clothes for anybody that wanted to make anything. I show you, or we will do it. If you want boxer short, we will make it. We're just
Anything.
we didn't have an aesthetic or a statement or anything. It was just pretty much anything. We started off with want to do other things for men, but I mean, 8 weeks down the line, we're making things for women. So it was like everything. We just started doing everything, but there was no aesthetic. We're not known for anything. No style, no cut, no fit, nothing. It was just literally anything. Interestingly, suits was never a plan.
Okay.
It was after we did Celebrity Takes Two, made a few things for Persona. I made 1 or 2 for myself, and this is very interesting. For when you're a marketing person, you're always a marketing person. When I mentor people, I always tell them this thing when it comes to writing business plans. So you guys listen, you may learn something. I was watching a TV reality show. It was sponsored by Oceanic Bank, and it was John Fashanu. It was a football TV reality show where some players would be taken to Tottenham, blah 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 blah, and the registration fee for the form was 3,000 naira.
Okay.
And in 4 weeks, when the registration was going on and ended, they had 30,000 people registered.
Wow.
And there was this whole brouhaha then that they were increasing the time for registration because he was making money. Now the gist was like the registration fee was going to John Fashion because the bank didn't care about that. They sponsored. So he increased time for registration. I was pushing like, why is he increasing time? I don't know if that was the truth about that, but it made sense because in 4 weeks he made 90 million naira.
Wow.
And I thought, wait, 3,000 times 30,000 is not 90 million now. And I'll count.
90.
It's 90 million naira. And if you tell anybody 3,000 times 30,000, it feels like first thing you come to your head is 9 million.
9 million.
Do you get what I mean? And I like, no bloody way, in 4 weeks. And that was what I used to structure my first business plan that I ever wrote, which was, if I can sell something and make a profit of 3,000 naira and say to 30,000 people in 1 year, I will make 90 million naira. So I broke down 30,000 units. I divided it by 52 to get what my, I divided by 52 to get my weekly target would be. Then I divide it again by 6 to get what my daily target will be. And I'm like, no, I can't achieve this because it's still a lot. And I got, but I don't have to make 90 million now. I can make 20 million in a year. And I will divide again. So I started playing with the numbers. And I realized that I have to get a product that can make me 20,000 naira in profit. And I looked at everything that I could do. Suits came up. We did the math and I said, okay, I went down to 20K. I started looking for a product that fits into where I can get a margin of 20K. Then the highest product that could give me that kind of thing was suits, because I could sell suits that time for 40K or 50K. And then, I can make 20K. Okay, then let me look for 2,000 people that will buy these suits. Now, if it's not even 2,000, let me even get 1,000 people. If not 1,000, let me get 500 people. But I already now had the product and I had the profit. It was now the volume that I had to chase. And as a marketing person, that's your marketing plan. How do you get this number of people to engage? That was how I wrote my first marketing plan. And I got that from a football TV reality show.
Interesting.
So that's now what made me add suits. So it now felt like a bit of a focus. Trying to ensure that you do the suits well, ensure that this is this. So I was driving very, very hard on the suits. But again, whilst I was working for Genevieve magazine, we did an edition in December where people do Christmas, we do wedding. And that was an idea that I came up with. Like, oh, in December is best. That's when people get married most in Nigeria. So do a wedding edition. Just and then you have Christmas sprinkled inside. So you don't look like every other person. So our first bridal cover was OG Okpe. Dakore was the first one. She was going to get married the next year. So Dakore was the first one. She wasn't even wearing a wedding dress. She was wearing some Ankara dress in it. But the content was all about a wedding that was meant to be. So I was looking for Nigerian designers that did wedding dresses. Valerie Davis, Frank Oshodi, Ade Bakare, Kosiba. That was it. There was also Adebayo Jones, but he was in London.
Okay.
Even Adebakare was here and there, but we could reach him. Kosiba was there. I realized that, oh, wow. That's it for wedding dresses in this country? The light bulb just came in my head. Opportunity in the market. You can be a wedding dress designer.
As well.
There is a huge opening for it. That's when I started saying I want to go into bridal. But before then, I was already making bridesmaids dresses. Every designer makes bridesmaids dresses as a point of entry. It was not the wedding dresses.
Itself.
So I was like, okay, let me even try this thing. And let's see. It was scary. And another motivation was my sister-in-law. She insisted I make a wedding dress when I didn't even know what I was going to do. She insisted, and I made her a wedding dress. I remember after the wedding, somebody went to order a wedding dress, and I stopped picking the person's call because I was scared I wouldn't be able to deliver. But that's when that led me into that. So I got time, recruited people, we started saying, let's try. I remember my first wedding dress that cost 90,000 naira. I sprayed 45,000 naira in the office so my tailors could grab because I had hammered. I was so happy. Like, she paid 90K.
Naira. This was 11 years ago?
Gosh. Yeah, around that time. Because I left my wedding line in 2011. I was spraying the money like, hey, come on. Like, it was joyous. And another thing that led to that point was that my wife is the accountant. And when she looked at the book, she was like, do you know, is this wedding suit, this bridesmaid's outfit, that's what has given us money since. So I felt like, oh, financially, it also made sense. So it was interesting to see that financially it's making sense in the account, that is what is giving us money. And I'm also seeing an opportunity in the market. You know, okay, let's marry this opportunity and run for it. And that's what we did. Officially launched, and I did the whole event to launch the bridal line. Got Uti and Muna to be there. That was when Prince Harry and Kate got married. I reenacted the wedding with Uti and Muna. They kissed at the end. There was no Instagram. There was Twitter. Twitter was tweeting all sorts of nonsense. People were claiming they were at the wedding in Redeemed Church where Uti actually got married to Muna. And interesting, that event happened on the day of a Big Brother finale and a P-Square show. And we were trending on Twitter.
Wow.
Because Uti kissed Muna. and not planned, but then you understand this, the strength of buzz. So I called Uti and Muna there and I said, listen, do not deny and do not accept. Just plead the fifth. Just let it run. Let's let it run. Do not say you didn't get married, please. And they said, oh yeah, cool. When people were like, oh, Hamuna, you don't marry. Say, is it a bad thing? So she never said yes or no. So it kept trending. Bella Nigeria was our partner, right? And Bella Nigeria put the picture up. And all of a sudden, people were going in. Like they got married. And I told Bella Nigeria, please do not even... And they didn't even send it, just put the picture up. You know? But since they are more like journalists and press, they had to say what it was. But they did it for 24 hours. Before they say, oh, at the so-and-so event, blah, blah, blah. And then, since there was no other place to see a picture, the only picture you saw was on Bella Nigeria. You go to Bella Nigeria to go and look at the picture. And that was what pushed it. So I felt like that was a very good push. Letting people knew that I did what I did.
You did what you did.
Think about it. Media was cheap then. I mean, all we needed was Bella Nigeria and a stunt, and we are good.
Not now.
Not now. Now you will have CNN, BBC, everything. And people are like, it happened.
It happened, like, we see it.
Yeah. So basically, that's now defined what we do. Say, okay, we do grooms, we do brides, we do suits for guys, we do wedding dresses, and we do other things in between. Then that side defining what we actually said we did. You know, which was suits for weddings and stuff. It was even actually suits for wedding, not even regular suits. You know, it was later on when I say, okay, now we do corporate. We had to say, okay, now we do other kinds of suits or any kind of suits you want and stuff like that. And that's how it is gone. Now we're trying to be more 360.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're having shoes from...
So I can shop the entire wardrobe with you.
That's where we're trying
That's
to
where
go
you're going.
to.
Okay.
I mean, in the studio right now, there's this space you are seeing that you guys can't see. It's going to be a women's wear boutique. So it's going to be a proper
Okay.
boutique where you come in and just pick things and go.
Okay.
So that's how I want to push for the women's wear line, to have a boutique for women's wear line. Also, the men's one will morph into ready-to-wear pieces. Again, the only reason why I've not done that, I'm very, very particular how my things are seen and how people wear my things, but I have to let that go at a point in time and let people just express themselves. So, but if you give me a chance, I will dress you up every day in my piece so that you're looking right.
Yeah, looking the perfect way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know I'm interrupting your watch time, but this is so important. I wouldn't interrupt it if it wasn't important. Now, this is a message for business owners in Nigeria, courtesy our sponsors for this episode, Traction Apps. Now, they want me to let you know that you should not be POS less. If that's a thing. So if you have a business and you need POS for the business, Traction Apps is your best friend. They've got you. So they have 3 types of POSs, but in this video, I'll be talking about 2, the ones that I'm holding. So we have this one. This is Traction 1, right? It basically runs like an Android phone. So when it is on, you see that the Traction app is installed on the POS. So you can basically manage your stock, your inventory on it and still use it to receive money. Now, this POS is going for 100,000 naira, but they have a lease to own solution, which is you get to just pay 500 naira every day until you complete your payment. Okay, so this is one. It is a POS and it doubles as a phone, a device as well, an Android device where you can operate the app on it and just see everything happening on your account. Now we have the regular POS. We'll call this Traction Pro. Okay, so it's a regular POS like you know it. You slot in your card here. So I'm just going to turn it on. And you can do all the whole purchase and whatnot and issue receipts. Now, this POS is going for 50,000 naira. But again, you can lease to own, which means that you can start paying 150 naira every day until you complete your payments. So if you've been struggling to get POS for your business, just go to the link in the description and apply for one. You'll get it within 48 hours. It is that fast. Remember, I always say Traction Apps, they're every business owner's friend. They're your partner because they have so many solutions to help you win and to help you grow as a business. So let's get back to the video of today. Enjoy.
In fact, there's one question I was going to ask based off your answer, but I would hold that and just speak to this last point. So when you look at like luxury brands out there, it's the items, it's the finesse, is the experience, is the look of the team and the space, etc. So it brings me to my question: do we have luxury brands here? Because I see the word littered everywhere, like, oh, we're a luxury fashion brand, but I'm struggling to find the luxury. So do we really have luxury brands, or is it a thing of because the prices are inflated or the prices are this high, that categorizes luxury?
I think luxury is now more of a marketing strategy than actually the actual thing that it is.
Okay.
So when we say luxury, people believe that it has a certain kind of class and stuff and it should be expensive. If you ask me clearly, I'll say no, we do not have any luxury brands in this country because there is an experience that goes with it. And sometimes the experience even goes beyond you really experiencing it physically in store, but even how it is presented to you via any channel, be it print, be it TV. You kind of just feel like you feel something when you see it. And because they've spent time trying to push it like that in every single platform, we don't do that. So it's not the price of something that makes it luxury.
That defines luxury.
If it's expensive, it is expensive. But have they created a certain perception of value in your head that you feel like what you are purchasing, even though not a need, a want, and you know that you are going overboard, but it makes you feel good on the inside regardless, even though it's hurting your pocket. That's what it is. Because every day I try to understand my little nephew recently bought a pair of slides for £200. Gucci slides for £200. I just bought my own Primark slides for £5.
£10.
So, my slides are very comfortable. My slides are nice. It has full memory. It means when you put your feet in it, you memorize how your feet stayed in it. So next time you wear it, it's there. It's Primark. And he's a Gucci. But he still has the box. I don't have a box. Inside the box, there is a Gucci branded cloth. One for each feet. And that's not what they used to wrap it. It's wrapped in again in another
thing.
Another cloth. And they now have tissues in it with a card telling you about what they... So I'm just thinking, if you gave me that box and I opened it and I saw those things and I managed to read the card and I saw the slides, my impression is different from the one I picked up and put in my nylon bag and I went. So they know what they're doing.
Yes.
It's very intentional. Out of the factory, those two things probably cost the same thing. By the time they put their green red on top of it, it's taking it a notch ahead. Then they package it even at that, it's done all that. You know, and when you go into the Gucci store in London, it's a different feeling. So that's what he paid for. Do I get that experience from anything here? No.
So your brand is a premium brand.
It's a premium brand.
Great. Well,
and
so
I
let's
like to tell
define.
people again, they push and they argue. I say, luxury perceived premium brand.
Oh shit.
But the luxury
Marketing.
perceived is used for you to
Marketer.
perceive it. So that we have put the luxury inside too.
Yeah.
But to be very clear, it's a premium brand. It's definitely not luxury. We're not, and that is me being as real as possible.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean that my quality is not as good as a Tom Ford
Luxury
quality.
brands,
It's as good as any luxury brand quality. But in terms of the total package experience, we are not there yet.
I remember going into a Tom Ford store. I can't remember which store, but I got in and the guys in there were wearing this really nicely tailored suits.
They wear the suits from the rack.
Yeah, I'm like, bruv, nobody is going to give any store attendants here to wear the items. Like, I'm like, they looked really...
Yeah, they wear the Tom Ford suits to get served, to serve you, and they look the part. So when they're coming to meet you to ask you what you want to buy and they want to service you, you're thinking, oh, this for me? And it's quite interesting because at the point in time as your brand grows, you have to do that. Do you understand? So, and it's also really good. My fashion consultant menswear, she's been working for a year with me. Interesting, she came in as an intern. And she grew to the ranks and she's amazing. And I made her a suit without telling her. I made her a 3-piece suit. I called her into the office one day and said, come and fit this thing. And she wore it. She was literally in tears because she was very happy.